Hello, beautiful people. I'm here today and I wanted to talk about the wisdom of the difficult times, the wisdom of discomfort, embracing the suck. And this topic just came to mind from my own experience today. Today we are celebrating Valentine's Day in the US and it's been really challenging. Um, my husband fell down last night and I was suspicious. I told him, you have a broken foot. I never broken anything myself, but I knew it. And he did indeed. So this morning we just had to do the proper care and everything. And it's just a reminder that life happens and the lessons happened when you least expecting them. Okay, we make plans and we try to go about our days, but there are always things that come out of the blue to usually teach us a lesson of humility, a lesson of stepping back out of our old programs, out of our old habits, and reflecting. So usually difficult times are here for that, to teach us a lesson, to give us some wisdom. But the things that we tend to do is just to activate those old programs, reacting out of fear, reacting out of victimhood. Oh, this always happens to me, poor me, everybody's bad, and all these stories. But the reality is that these stories don't help you to upgrade yourself. And right now, we are all experimenting with this, with a lot of difficult things happening and showing up for us to work on them. And it's really an opportunity to overcome the old self, to overcome the old us, those old patterns that we carry from our upbringing, from our family, from our mothers, fathers, caregivers, all those patterns that we just repeat and repeat and replay ourselves, right? Because we're not much different how we play out in our relationships than how we were when we were kids. What we experience, it kind of stays with us in our DNA, it stays in our subconscious. So all these difficulties, all the things that come out of the blue are really here to help us step back, reflect, and really embrace the suck. Because the suck, the difficult time, the challenging time, is really an opportunity to step back, breathe, and reflect. And take a day at a time, a minute at a time, a moment at a time, because there are real challenges out there. And I can tell you myself, I can share some of my most challenging times. One being when my father disincarnated, when my father passed. That was about 4 years ago. He was really sick. I was working full time for the museum, and there was nobody that could replace me, but everybody's replaceable. We know that. So I couldn't travel immediately, and he was like in the hospital. And when I went, he really went downhill. So when I finally arrived, he really went downhill. And one day I was just visiting like any other day to see how he was doing. He was like good and bad and good and bad, and he was like that. And all of a sudden he was like rushed for a surgery, and I just came for a visit and I didn't know. And I was like, okay. He agreed to that, and I was like, okay. I remember as he went to the emergency room, he held my hands and he told me, can you pray like you pray, those prayers that you pray? And for me, that was like, he, mind you, that he was very Catholic. I was raised Catholic, like very religious, and I never like those prayers from the books or like those that you just memorize. I just pray always with my heart. But that's a story I will share later. My first encounter with Virgin Mary, and as a being, as a ascended master, that I was little and I didn't understand this, but it was a fantastic experience for me. And that's how I pray, with my heart. And he said, can you say one of your prayers? And I did. And we just prayed together as he went. And then he didn't make it after that surgery. And for me, I'm Colombian. I was raised in Colombia, born in Colombia, but I moved out of my country when I was 18. So I didn't know how to navigate the world there, like papers and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of things that happen when a person dies, legal stuff, all that stuff. I didn't know how to navigate myself there. So it was really challenging. I just allowed myself to take a day at a time, a moment at a time, as overwhelming as it was, because I was his only daughter. Like I have siblings on my mother's side, but I was his only child, and I had an aunt that was really, really close to him and so attached to him, and I was dealing with her grief and all the other things, right? All the paperwork, all the other physical things that you need to do, and it was a lot. It was a lot, and I was just like, okay, I was really overwhelmed at some point, and I said, I just, a day at a time. If I take a shower and that's all I do for today, so be it. If I just eat and dress for today, so be it. If I just get this paperwork done, this signature here and there, and that's all I do for today, so be it. If I just hold this person with all my being and just being present and embracing the shock and crying together, and that's all we do, so be it. And just allowing myself to feel the feels and be in the moment, that was very transformative for me, for all the things that would happen later on in my life. The second most challenging time in my life was the birth of my first son, my child, my only child. He was born with a heart defect, and I had a very difficult childbirth. I prepared for I did yoga my whole pregnancy. I did all the right things. I ate right. I felt amazing, but things just went downhill. I had to have an emergency C-section, and a few days after my emergency C-section, he was diagnosed with this heart murmur, and he had a large VSD that needed to be closed by open heart surgery. So all these things, and mind you that I, by myself in this country, I don't have my family with me, and it was very challenging. And the same thing I apply, a day at a time. I forgot right now how many days I spent in the hospital with him. It was 7 or 10. And it was like the same thing, same procedure, a day at a time, a moment at a time. If I just brush my hair for today and eat for today and be next to my son's bed and that's all I do, so be it. Embrace the suck, embrace the lesson, because sometimes the lesson is just endurance, resilience, and strength. But we tend to just escape the lesson. There's so much escapism in this country, and we tend to go to social media, drugs, sex, food, binging, watching Netflix, all the things, right? Just to keep ourselves distracted from the discomfort. But the discomfort is really, really trying to shake us up, to take us out of the comfort zone, to take us out of the old patterns and go to the old self, and then just go immediately to, oh, that victim mentality. Oh, everybody's bad. Oh, the world is a horrible place to be. All these things, right? We can come up with like 100,000 things to complain about. But really what the sock has is like this juicy lesson for us to embrace. And my invitation for you today is just whatever you're going through, because I've been doing this for quite some time, professionally for the past 2 years, but since I'm 17, I'm always being the go-to person when people are experiencing hardships, the person that has somehow some advice to give back and just give them comfort. Like I'm always being that person, and I guess my path was to arrive here sooner or later, and just be with that. Just sit with that. Don't distract yourself, okay? A lot of people are going through difficult times. I get texts, I get emails. My dear friends are going through very, very challenging things right now. Me, myself, I mean, it's not the end of the world maybe, because I'm already used to a lot of other difficult situations, but my day just completely change, and we went from the emergency room and then like talking about surgery and like all these things, like with my partner, because he brought his food on Valentine's Day when we had already plans to go for lunch and all these things. But who cares, right? Like, I am his partner. I am with him in this situation, in the difficult time. Like, I got you. And that's all it takes for me to show my love, to show that I'm there. And doesn't need to be all these expectations that we have, right? Like the romantic flowers and the chocolates and all those things. Like, who cares? Like, I'm being with this partner for 14 years, and all I can do is just be with him through this process that he's going to right now. So that's what I'm inviting you to sit with yourself. Whatever is bothering you, whatever is causing you discomfort in your life, whatever feels uneasy, just sit with it. Sit with it and see what is the lesson, what is the wisdom of that challenging time, because it's really an invitation to overcome your old self, to start changing all those patterns that you're repeating, like how your parents reacted to challenging times. We're not very different than them. How your environment, how the people that you're the closest to react to challenging times, right? And the world is changing. I don't need to repeat that. We're hearing that everywhere, and we are changing. Our DNA is changing. Our frequency is upgrading. So all those patterns that are not anymore harmonious and supported and beneficial for us and for what is coming, they need to be disintegrated. They need to be eliminated. They need to disappear, but at a core, not on a superficial level. So in order to do that, we really need to do the inner work of observing ourselves, realizing, okay, this happened, this came my way. Okay, what is the lesson? What do I need to do from this? Like, not trying to avoid it, sugarcoat it, put it under the carpet, none of that. Like, really face it, embrace it. What is this here for? What's the lesson? What's the wisdom? And I can assure you there is so much wisdom, and there is so many juicy lessons in everything that happens to us. And everything, I'm gonna say again, everything happens for a reason. And as challenging as it might sound, we all on a soul level assign ourselves those lessons. So there is not such a difficult lesson that we cannot overcome, because on our toolkits, on our frequency, on all of our being, we have the tools to overcome it. We just need to dig a little bit, just to dig a little bit deeper, release and reveal some of those layers that I often talk about with my clients, that we're like an onion that has so many layers, and we start dismantling this old self and these false ideas of self and these limiting beliefs, these old perceptions, all this programming. Once we start dismantling that, we start really revealing who we are. And who we are, our core, is just incredible beings that can see beyond all the difficulties, that can ride the waves of whatever it is, because we're infinite beings. We have the tools, and we're not alone. Always invite your guides, always invite your spirit team to support you. That's their job, and they lovingly do it. All you need to do, people often ask me, do I need to know their names? Like, how do I call them out? Not really. And there's so many right now. Like, I often connect to a lot of like Pleiadians, Taigetans, not only angels and archangels, but a lot of other cosmic beings that are assisting us right now. So all you need to do is really open yourself up to their help. And you can use as easy as I invite or I call upon the highest, most supportive, most loving and beneficial guide for me to help me with ABC, whatever it is that you're dealing with. Because remember, they work, in my experience, this is just my awareness, from different rays, from different frequencies. So they all have different qualities. Some of them have the quality of helping you forgive and open up your heart and expanding in that self. Some of them have the capacity to help you transmute and release all baggage and things that are holding you back from your greatness. Some of them have the capacity to help you if you're experiencing like psychic attacks, or you're experiencing some uneasiness with entities and things of this kind. Like, they can help you too. So whatever you're going through in life, just invite the highest, most loving, supported, and beneficial guide to help you with whatever the challenge is. And just feel the presence. Just take a minute or two to focus on your breath, to invite their presence into your life, to help you navigate all the waves of life, because life could be very interesting, but it could be more fun and more with more ease once we're aware and we invite our guides to participate with us and help us, because that's really the purpose. That's really their purpose, to help us just discover more of ourselves and help us go through life with more flow, with more ease. I hope this was helpful to you. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to me. I'm Erica Ristovsky. I'm a psychic medium, channel for angels and guides, and an healer, an energy healer. My specialty is to work from trauma in the body, trauma that we carry on from our ancestors, from our family, that is holding us back from joy and from purpose. Thank you for being here. See you soon. Have a great day. Bye.